these adventures. These are adventure tales from the age of 6 to 10 years old. And this is the first one where I join a gang. And it's not quite the same type of gang feeling that you get nowadays. But for a 6-year-old, it was pretty. Year is 1977. I'm 6, and the highlights were playing, waking up to snow for the first time. Star Wars was everywhere. I lived in this motel called the Ferry Motel. It had 5 units, and out the front was a little concrete fence. There was an initiation, a challenge, that was at this place before it was called Flaxwood Lane. In 77, Flaxwood Lane was an enclosed paddock with a wire mesh fence similar to this one. Well, here we have a park. Now the property that I entered when I was 6 years old had a fence right in front of it. So it wasn't just like I could walk in and have this challenge that had been committed to by some little friends of mine at the time. To get on the other side of the paddock, to get inside the paddock that was in between all these houses, you had to climb a fence. And this fence was a barbed wire fence. And my little hands could go right through the squares of the barbed wire. I was only 6, of course, but this fence must have looked like it was 4 metres high and impossible. But impossibility to a 6-year-old doesn't really register. Now the paddock was overgrown, and I remember there being a container, or it might have even been a stagecoach, one of those ones you see in westerns, right at the front of the property. And it was neglected and it was falling to pieces. And so it was the sort of thing you looked at and thought, what's that all about? But I got over that fence and I made a few steps into the property, thinking all along that there was an old man at the end of this property. And this old man had a sawn-off shotgun. And anyone who came onto his property, he was going to shoot at. I didn't know that this old man didn't exist. So I ventured, pushing my foot forward, wondering when he was going to pop out from behind a tree, a bush, or is he going to come right behind me, shoot me in the back like John Wayne got in his last movie. Of course, John Wayne had someone to back him up after he'd got shot, and there was no one on the other side, inside the fence with me. I was all alone, and I had to walk. It felt like eternity getting to the end of this area, but I did it. And at the end there was a fence. It was a wooden fence. Same sort of fence that everybody has around their perimeter of their property in Christchurch. Good old wooden fence. I got there, I tapped it, turned around and ran like hell. My heart must have been pumping like anything. I could hear noises that weren't there. Voices saying, I'm coming after you. And all I had was this image of a real old guy with a sawn-off shotgun and blowing holes in me. Well, I got to that wire fence, and I must have got over it so fast I can't even remember how. If I could have ran through it for all I knew. Got on the other side and felt relief. I looked around, but I wasn't looking at anything, because nothing was there other than grass and trees, and there wasn't an old guy. And there never was. It was just something the other kids were saying. But I had a real joy in my heart anyway, because I was part of the Robbie Isaac and Stephen Ritchie gang, 2 13-year-olds with a group of 6 and 7-year-olds that were their cadets. And now the adventure began. I was in. Like all gangs, we had a den. It was at the Robbies, and it was a wooden shed with power, but the power was not to be turned on for some unknown reason. All the light bulbs were gone too, without reason given. I went home and noticed light bulbs everywhere. I had an idea and removed the light bulbs from the units, not high ones like the ceilings, but the low ones at the bedside for reading, and went back to the den. Here I am running back to the den with overloaded hands with light bulbs. Once at the den, the gang was there, surrounded, wondering why I'd come back. Instead, they saw gang inserted the bulbs, clicked on the power switch to no, clicked on the power switch to on, with the lights suddenly brightening, extremely bright, and exploding like fireworks. Everyone ran. The adults of the house came out, saw what had happened, locked the shed. That was the end of our gang's headquarters. We relocated to the Ritchie's place and used the garden shed as the den. No power, wasn't the same. Well, that was then, and it's still fresh in my mind. Hope you enjoyed the listening. Subscribe and comment if you like.